It's JP. It's JP Lee. This is Web3T. We got two viewers in the room right now. Myself and our faithful producer Kendall. Joined
Legend.
today. Our very faithful, amazing producer and editor Kendall, doing a great job. Thank you very much. I'm joined today by Matt Bartlett, as usual. Um, Full introduction would be the head of community at VanEck, head of the NFT community, and head of Web3. He's doing a lot of great work, sourcing a lot of great guests. Um,
So much so that it's just me today. So killing it.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. We're having a good time. So we're gonna have a good time today, just me and Bartlett. I think our first show was just you and me back when we launched the NFT, and we had a couple of viewers on that show. That was
hmm
fun. But we have a good little lineup. There's lots to talk about, I think, in the NFT and the Web3 world. The title of this episode right now, maybe we'll change, is talking NFTs in the middle of a freeze. And yeah, we're gonna run it. So, do you have any opening comments, Matt? Do you have anything that you'd like to start off with?
I mean, just that. Well, first of all, I think we're a lot better than. Well, I hope we're a lot better than we were that first time. No, there's just a lot of interesting stuff happening. I want to get into it.
Well, let's hit it. What's new? What's going on? I mean, what's on top of your mind when you're out there in the Twitter sphere and the
Yeah.
Discord?
So, yeah, I think it's more of a coincidence. Just yesterday, uncovered Blur.io, which is a marketplace aggregator where you can list NFTs on multiple secondaries at once. And I hung around to their AMA last night and listened to their founder. And I guess Zeneca is like a strategic advisor for them. So Zeneca is a massive name in the space. And so just listening, it's going to be free forever for everyone. It's a super fast tool. The interface reminds me of a mix between Atari and like a Bloomberg terminal. But it has elements of nostalgia to it. I mean, you'd probably say 1% of the platform has any graphics, but it looks like a video game to me.
So,
And, yeah.
so when you say it lists, so you can like list all your stuff on OpenSea and Rarible and manage your listings at the same time.
Yeah. So when you list, it'll list across looks rare, OpenSea, um, and one more I'm forgetting, and as well as Blur, all at once. And so it's extremely fast. You can ladder your NFT listings. It actually has a top trait feature where you can hit top trait and it will give you the highest price that trade is listed for currently in the market and match it. So you can list it in a smart way without having to do it one by one. But the genius of the whole thing is that there's an airdrop. And so if you've traded any NFTs over the last 6 months, you'll qualify for a Blur token, which you'll be able to claim. Or you can claim the boxes now, but you won't be able to open until next year when they launch their tokenomics. So I went on in one of my wallets. I had 20 plus boxes. There's different rarities. There's legendary, uncommon, rare. So that's really interesting. And so that, like, from a strategy point of view, they just onboarded so many users in one day to their platform that they're already competing head to head with the likes of Jim in terms of volume. And there's about 13 days left to claim this first airdrop. So I'll stop there. It looks like you're going to ask something.
So did you mint this? Is that what you did? You minted?
No, no, it's just like going. Imagine going to an open sea, and because of your previous transactions, you get to claim X number of boxes, and as soon as you list any NFT, you get to actually claim them, and you could reveal them to see what you got. So that's really exciting. And then I guess the next part is they're going to have a second airdrop in November that will be based on any additional listings that you've added, your use of the tool, are you using the various features?
So if what? So you claim so nobody's had Blur until yesterday, right?
They were in beta for about 6 months,
So
but
did
yes,
you have to use it in beta to claim the box that you got? Or
no, no. So it was any of your transactions. If you had like, 60 ETH worth of transaction or volume on any secondary, You would get X number of
Is
boxes.
that so? And there's 11 more days to claim. I mean, like,
13 days left to claim the first airdrop, and then there will be the November airdrop. And in fact, there's a loyalty score. So if you go to blur.io, that you could read about it. So you'll have a loyalty score that will sort of rank your activity. And so the more that you use the features and interact with the platform, the higher the score goes. And so when they do the airdrop, which they're saying will you'll actually get way more than you got the first airdrop, you'll have higher chances of getting more rare boxes, so more rare or legendary boxes. So I'm excited about it because number one, forget that the free airdrop aside, it's a really easy platform to use. It's very simple and it's a time saver. So I like that. But I also personally have a lot of certain NFTs that are inexpensive, but I have a high number of them.
yeah.
And to go through one by one, or even just listing them in bundles of 20, it could be so time consuming. And this, you could do it in a couple clicks. So I like it. And it's just, again, this is one of those stories where, we are in the middle of this winter. What are people doing? Are people still building? These guys have been building the whole time, and they come out with a phenomenal product. So that's why I'm pumped about it.
Was this in your blubber notes?
It's going
Blur.io?
it's going to be in Monday's Blubber Notes. So blubbernotes.com for those of you listening. Please subscribe. So I'm going to include more info in that note, but you might as well just jump in and start getting used to the tool. So
I didn't know that it was just a free claim. I got to do that. I mean, I don't
this
have
is
a lot.
this is why you listen to Web3T. You get good stuff.
I mean, yeah, I'm learning about this in real time right now.
Yeah.
Very exciting. So we have for this is a little behind the scenes between me and we're kind of different personalities, which is why we work so well together. Matt is he's very into planning things out in detail. I remember some of the first episodes we were very detailed planning with
Yeah.
which is great, right? And I'm kind of more of a wing it kind of guy. I like to wing it. So and I think would you say you accuse me of wanting to be like Jerry Springer and ask you like questions that
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
So I have a question like that just popped into my head as we
Okay.
started getting going, and I think one of the things I've seen out there in the discourse is that a lot of these NFTs when they were first launched, let's say like in the last 2 years, right? When you first heard about NFTs, one of the stories is, well, if you're an artist, you can set your royalties so that any future transaction you get paid on your royalty, right? Last what 2 months, something like that.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, some of these platforms are like OpenSea or Magic Eden are letting you bypass whatever the royalties
Yeah.
were set, which saves money, right? Like you can save money for somebody who's buying it on the secondary. What do you think about that? Like, is that give me your thoughts, Matt Bartlett, hot take.
Yeah. Yeah. So the hot take, pseudo swap came out. I want to say it was August, and they had a marketplace where you could bypass the royalties because they're not enforceable on chain. Interestingly enough, blur.io gives you an option, and depending on whether you pay the royalty or not, it also affects your loyalty score.
Ooh, that's interesting.
So that was a nice little twist. Um, yeah, ultimately, I think it's going to come down. This is just one position, right? Because it's going to be very difficult to enforce the royalties unless you have a specific protocol that comes out and people adopt it. I think if you have a community, and we're in a lot of different communities in the NFT world. Um, if this community is the type of community that's going to bring value in the form of social engagements, parties, extra drops, free drops, it's got to come from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So the way I look at it is I prefer to pay the royalties. And I don't view myself as being a sucker for paying the royalty. I think it's fair. I also tip when I go out to eat. I
Yeah.
think that's fair,
That's what I
right?
was gonna say. It's like tipping.
Yeah.
Are you a 20% tipper or are you a twelve
Yeah,
percent
no, I
tipper?
actually I am I try to be well, especially especially now, people have a hard time economically right now, so I try to be generous where I can, but yeah, I think if you make it to where it's up to the anonymous Web3 user on what they're going to tip, I'm going to argue that most people are going to stiff the creator. so I don't like that.
That's
Yeah.
funny. So do you? So Radiohead, one of my longtime favorite bands. They really came in 2006. I want to say they came out with an album called In Rainbows, and it
Hmm.
was a pay what you want. They released it on the internet, and you could pay whatever you want. And I don't even. I think you had to pay something. And I remember I was like I paid $1, right? Like and like there I'm a big fan. So like yeah, I completely agree. If it's anonymous, you kind of like but that just it brings me back to this whole thing of there's perception of what this stuff is and how it's going to go and what what the general public that when we come up with stuff we can come up with the talking points and why would somebody want to use this, and that was kind of like a key talking point. I remember when NFTs were going really big and a lot of new people coming in as look you're going to help the artist because and so there's a disconnect between maybe one of the talking points and then now it seems like they're being bypassed. So, and I'm not like a tech whiz, but I'm just wondering if is that like a marketing problem where it was marketed incorrectly because there the whatever you pay what if you the royalties are baked in no matter what, it's built into the smart contract. Like I remember hearing that a lot, and if
Yeah,
it could.
I think there was a misunderstanding. I think a lot of folks learned that was not the case. That OpenSea and these other secondaries are honoring the creator fee, but they don't have to. They're choosing to do so.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I've been seeing. So first of all, I have a lot of random stuff going on in my head, but let's talk about your background because, we started this a couple months ago, and your background it was just the degenwealth.eth, which is,
Oh,
and it seems like it's grown over the
yeah,
last couple of months. You got a lot of stuff going on back there. What is,
yeah.
yeah,
I
what's in
took
that?
a few
What's the spinny
pictures.
thing?
Oh, the spinning thing. Yeah. So that is a Blocktone NFT. So Gino the Ghost Music Project, which is a decentralized music publishing protocol, I guess, or project. Essentially, what he's doing is he's worked with another artist to create audio stems, and so they all sound very different from one another. And if you have an audio stem that, let's say, Flowrida wants to use and create a song with, well, then all of a sudden you're co-producing that song with that artist, and you could share in the royalties. So it has a really cool visual. It looks like a spinning CD, but it also has a cool beat to it as well.
What's a
The
CD? You're aging yourself.
Yeah, a compact disc.
What else is going on there? I see some nicey stuff up
Yeah,
there.
well, so we had our co-hosted event at the New York Stock Exchange. So we rang the bell with the Afropolitan, and on the bottom picture we've got Chica Owazier from Afropolitan, closing out the day. It was a bloodbath that day, unfortunately, but
Yeah.
we got some good press out of it. So yeah, that was just the second event where we've had some community members in person, but it was great. So hopefully we can do some more.
Yeah, I missed it. That's a demerit for me. You like that's demerit for me on that
We'll
one.
see if you get the invite next time.
So okay, so music's coming up. I feel like and Sound XYZ is out there. What do you like about Sound? What is Sound XYZ? What do you
Yeah,
like about it?
so I
What don't
guess
you
to
like
be
about it?
fair, that one really is a decentralized music publishing protocol. So basically, if you're an artist and you want to make it big, right now, it takes 1 million Spotify listens to make $4,000. And and that's a lot of listens.
Yeah,
So in order to get to 1 million, if you're working with a studio or producer, they're going to tell you got to make 10 TikToks a day.
yeah,
You got to really promo this thing. Sound XYZ is basically you launch the song from this platform, and you might have 10 to 50 different NFTs that represent that ownership in that song.
yeah,
And so you could kind of prove that you were an early fan. And what I love about the protocol is that when you buy a song, they actually have like a visual of the seating chart. So the earlier that you buy that song, your own profile picture is larger and closer to the front, and then it gets smaller as you become one of the last people to buy the token. So right there, it allows the artist to capture roughly $4,000 in NFT sales. And then depending on your audience, now you have 40, 50 people who are willing to, hey, listen to this song. Hey, have you heard about XYZ artist? And then people are listening to you on Spotify, helps you to grow a little bit more organically. I like the protocol, but I sort of am hoping that the block tones model takes off more because I want to participate, in a greedy way in the royalties. In this case, I think for the most part, you're not really participating in the royalties, right? You get to prove that you were an early fan. Depending on the artist, they may give you some IP usage, like where you could play the song commercially, maybe. But in most cases, you're not getting any royalty fees.
Wealth of information. It sounds like music's popping off.
Yeah.
I remember when I was first digging into this stuff a year and a half ago, that was kind of one of the things, this idea of toll collector who isn't adding a lot of value, right, but is extracting value. And when I hear 1 million views to get to $4,000,
Yeah.
that seems pretty extracting, right? Like, it seems
Hmm.
like Spotify's got a pretty good deal there, and it's like a platform that's taking a bigger cut. And the way I think about it is, if you spend $5 on because you like whatever, whatever musician, how much of that $5 is actually going to that musician, and it's pennies, right? And so it's going back to the first thing we were talking about. We're empowering the creator here by economically by giving the person who's buying it maybe more ownership and usage of it, and then giving the artist more economic benefits. It's interesting.
Well, I'm gonna shamelessly name drop for 1 second. So last week I had a chance to meet with one of the chain smokers over Zoom, and Alex Paul, and he spoke about their token that they dropped a couple months back, which chain smokers dropped a free token. I think it was a total of 5,000. And if you claim this token, you would split some very small percentage of the royalties from that song. And in that case, that was an interesting idea because if that song was adopted by the TikTokers or some other influencers and really took off, it could have been meaningful. I mean, potentially meaningful. The token itself still sells for around $100, so it's a really nice free gift. And he mentioned that I don't know if they were in Minnesota or Michigan that they did a performance, and anybody that had five of their tokens they invited backstage for a private party meet and greet. Just a really cool way to again build community, build
Yeah,
your base. So
access and community.
yeah.
That's what it's all about. Do you want to talk about Mike Shenandoah, or do you want to get into that?
Oh
Wind
yeah.
chime
So Mike Shinoda from
or
Lincoln Park,
Shinoda?
yeah, had I think he launched it on Tezos or Flow, I forget, but he came out with a project called Windchime, and I don't know where this is going, but this was a really interesting idea. The visual of the NFT is you can interact with it, and if you it has a bunch of circles on it, and depending on like where you click, it starts to mix music. It adds different sound elements, and you could save it, and potentially he might use that in his music.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's just something you could go to OpenSea and you could literally do it. You could make music with anyone's NFT. I don't think you're able to save it, but you could sort of experiment. It's kind of fun.
And then you get paid millions of dollars when that song gets famous after it uses
I don't know. I don't know.
it.
Hope, so. Hope somebody does.
um, Music is good. Can you hear my dogs barking?
Yeah.
Um, you know, when I look up
Hmm.
degenwealth.eth in rainbow.me, I
Hmm.
see a lot of different things in there. I see, you're doing, you've gotten into a lot of different projects, and how do you do that? Like, how do you go about, like, and I don't know if you think of it from a portfolio perspective. I don't know
Hmm.
if you're just kind of like, some people do things differently, right? Some people are like, they just dig into
Yeah.
something and they just love this, and then it leads one thing to the other. How do you think about your wallet, or how do you think about what you're getting into when you have a decision between, look, I got XYZ ETH or whatever in my wallet, I have to choose between A or B. How do you make that decision?
Yeah. So I don't want to sound uncultured, but I'm not a huge. I get the use case for art in general. I get it, and I get why people like to collect art. I don't have a lot of just pure art projects in my wallet. I really do like, and I know it's a dirty word. I like projects that have utility, that have
Why is that a dirty
multiple
word?
use cases. What's that?
Why is that a dirty word?
I don't know. I think people in the art community don't like the word utility.
I
You
could
know,
see that. Yes.
I think that's part of it.
Yep.
Um, so, and the reason why I think that's important is, it's for the same reason why you like a high quality large cap company. It's multiple revenue streams, right? It has a diverse business, right? And those tend to be safer investments than, let's say, a micro cap company that has, it's brand new and has one sole purpose, right? So that's kind of how I think about my NFT projects that I get into. I like play to earn, play to own a lot, mainly because, and we've talked a lot about this, I think that's partly how we're going to onboard the next billion users into Web3. People are already playing games around the world.
Yeah.
Now it's just, it's a slightly different experience, maybe. We can get into that. And then I like specifically assets where they're Genesis assets, where it's like the first drop, and maybe because you have that Genesis asset, you're able to splice or breed or clone that character and sell to new players as they
Yeah.
get onboarded, or if you're able to take part in some sort of token drop, right? Where
Yeah.
if that game takes off, you were there early and they awarded you with some tokens. Maybe you could participate in a liquidity bootstrap auction, things like that, and make some bank. That's kind of how I think of it. So
Yeah, I got this big, amazing 1,700 word blog that Kendall's gonna be getting the final edit of today. And there was an article that Bloomberg came out with today, and it was this big article about why gamers have projected NFTs, and they cherry pick a couple of examples about why it's not gonna work, and it's like blah blah, and it's just like I've spent like let's say starting actually March, I think in March 2019, Apex came out, Apex Legends,
yep.
and that was the first game that was like free that I really got into, and I was like, this game is nuts. Like, I really got into it, and then next thing you know, I'm spending money in the battle pass, and I'm buying outfits for the people, and I'm getting into it, right? And then Warzone came out about a year later, so I played Apex the whole year.
Where did PUBG fit into this? Were they
Oh,
not?
you know what? I got PUBG, but I paid for PUBG. I
Yeah, right,
paid.
right.
I got it. I got it. So I moved to New York City, and it was the winter. It was like
Mhm.
February, and I played PUBG pretty. I mean, we played a couple games
Yeah,
together back in
that
2000.
was my first battle royale. And I don't know if that was the first ever, but that was early for me.
Yeah, and that was, but that wasn't free. That wasn't a free game. You still had to pay for that, right?
Yeah,
But Apex, I was spending money on it, and then when Warzone came out, I mean, everybody was playing it, and
yeah.
I was spending money,
Hmm.
and so for people, for the Bloomberg crypto team and the gamers out there who can't put those two things together, of you're spending hundreds of dollars a year on these video games, on your weapons, or on your to look like, I mean, the characters are ridiculous, but you don't own them, they're just in the game. And to think that's not going to integrate, that's like that, it's I don't know. I
Seems
mean,
short-sighted.
it seems very short-sighted to me. And but it's like one of those things like where, whoa, maybe we're early, but I mean, like, I mean, that's frustrating too, to keep saying to yourself, well, we're just early. Like, okay, well, it's still annoying, right? Like, and the play to earn thing, I mean, I know that can be a bad word too. People don't want to hear that, so that's why we've heard free to own, right? Like, and we
Hmm.
talked about that a little bit. I don't know if we've talked, I guess that video is not out yet. But free to own is the idea that they're going to airdrop you. You can just claim things for free, right? You
Yeah.
just go to the website, you have a wallet, or you create a wallet, you claim it, and then you have an item to play within the game. Like, that to me, like, seems like such an easy step for crypto people to embrace. And I think even some of the crypto people aren't into it, right? So it's like both sides don't want to play ball with each other, and it's like, this is to me, the question of where does the next 100 million people come from? That's
Hmm.
where it comes from, right? So, and so I'm gonna go through one of my questions,
Sure.
and we've been doing this for 6 months. I mean, if we look at the chart over the last 6 months, any chart, on tech side or crypto side, NFTs, it's been rough, right? Like, it's been a rough couple of, whether we're talking about coins, whether we're talking about NFT volumes, and it's like there's this. the fatigue is setting in, right? Like it's set in for me. I mean, 100%. And I guess I want to hear what you. And then we asked Jorge from Arcade this question too, a couple episodes last episode, and he was like, "No, there's no crypto bear market."
Won't mention.
Yeah, he's like, there's no bear market in the gaming. Fundraising's through it. It's like, okay, that's fair, but it's still there. You know what I mean? And it still weighs on you. And what do you do? Like, how do you get above that? How do you? Because you this is your new this is a new role for you. Like, this is
Yeah.
a new kind of career. So how do you deal with that? Like, how are you getting through that? What are you doing?
Well, I think I'm an optimist in general. I'm really passionate about the space. Like I consider myself to be really lucky because, and I'm not just saying this in case certain people are watching. Uh, like I get
They're
to
not
listen.
watching. They're not
Yeah,
watching.
that's good. I get to listen to AMAs and Twitter Spaces that I would have anyway in my on my personal time as part of my job now. I literally put
Yeah.
them on my Outlook calendar, right? So I'm really into the space. I'm sure it's easy for a lot of folks who put a lot of capital in this year and got pummeled to get a bit disenchanted, right? And by the way, like everybody's sort of down. I mean, if you said you're only up, I'd probably call you a liar, but we'll see, right? So I think in this market, you've got the folks who have been through this before. I've been through this before, right? I mean, I've been through a crypto winter and I've learned my lessons. I mean, we talked about Decentraland. I got in really early on Decentraland. I sold some Decentraland. I sold some Mana coin, right? And when I shouldn't have, right? And so in a way, I've learned my lesson. But I also know that there still is this build mentality where folks do continue to build and yeah, there's the downside is there are many teams and some that we've talked to where they have the right tech, the right team in place, they've run out of runway and they're done.
Yeah.
But there's also the opposite of that. You have some of these projects that have all the funding in the world, 5 to 7 years of a runway, and you know what? They're probably going to hire the developers and team from those projects that are going under, and they're still going to build their game. They're still
Yeah.
going to build their infrastructure. So I don't know. I am encouraged by it because talking to project founders all the time, I know what's going on behind the scenes, and it's not like people are just walking away.
Yeah.
The only reason they're walking away is because they're broke, if that's
Yeah.
the case, or they didn't have truly a good vision or idea. I mean, that would be kind of how I'm thinking about it. So yeah, I don't know how long it's going to take. I think it's be patient, keep building, keep consolidating where you can to position yourself well on the upside.
So what's it gonna take for you to be like, okay, we're back? I mean, is it gonna be Bitcoin's up, or is it gonna be the new version of Fortnite is an NFT game? Like, what do you envision? Like, I mean, obviously we're just BSing here, and you can't
Yeah.
know that or predict
No,
that.
I have no clue. I think again, thinking about my own the assets that I own. I have these play to earn assets. I want to see the games. I want to
Yeah.
see the games come out. There's a lot of talk about games that will come out next spring and
Yeah.
next summer. Like I need to see protocols now, and
Yeah.
and it's okay. Like if it's not the most amazing game in the world, that's okay too. But I want to see progress,
You want to
right?
see something.
Yeah, yeah, and I want to play.
Yeah.
I think Board Elon it has a really interesting business model where, he and his team are putting together or curating what they feel are the best up and coming games, and not all those games are out yet.
Yeah.
But we will get an early beta, a beta test some of those games, which will be important. Yeah, I want to be a part of that, so that's what I'm looking forward to.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree. That's this question I've asked you privately too, where it's like, there's projects or collectives out there that have done a really successful mint, back to November 21 or something like that. And then then there's all these kind of follow on. You get the Genesis asset, then something else comes out, and you keep getting
Yeah.
dripped on. And then another one, like in this collective, then something else mints, and there's another, and it's like, well, wait a minute, now we're coming up on a year later. Well, what happened to this? What happened to this first one? Where are we
Yeah.
at here? And that kind of goes back to my point about being not frustrated.
Also, JP, like if you have people that were always skeptics and now the market's down, those folks aren't coming back for a while,
Yeah,
right? Like they're happy to tell you, I told you so.
yeah,
NFTs are beanie babies,
yep,
and they're dead, and those because they get to be right for a short amount of time,
yeah,
But I also see other use cases outside of game, whether it's tickets and real estate.
yeah,
And we just saw a piece of real estate selling NFT recently, right? So
yeah. I saw
there's
that.
other things that are happening.
I had a lot of questions about that I didn't want to ask on those Twitter feeds because I didn't want to look stupid. But yeah, I saw that household that as an NFT or whatever. It's like, did the county is the county recognizing this too? Is it just like an OpenSea transaction and the county's like, yeah, we agree? You know what I mean? Like, there's some things that I know we've talked to some real estate kind of Web3 stuff, and there's a lot going on like behind the scenes there that I think the infrastructure is still being built out. But hey,
Yeah,
it's a
it's
great
got to start somewhere.
yeah, like when you're working on stuff, not to get too far ahead, you're working on things, you build out what it should look like, and then sometimes you kind of
Mhm.
have to build the plumbing underneath. But before you build your dream house, then you got to install the plumbing.
That's right.
So that's great, man. You're doing great. You're answering some hard questions here. You're taking it, you're taking it like a champ. I think you're doing a really good job. So,
You're the best. Thank you.
so what do you? Okay, so going back to the games, let's go through. Matt Bartlett. What games are out there, or what games are coming that you're excited about? You mentioned Board Box, and you kind of hinted
Yeah,
at some of these games. What's on the top of your radar? Top five, if you've got them, and maybe why. And anything you want to like key points, key highlights.
yeah. So, and I know you know this. My favorite project is Altered State Machine,
Yeah,
and the reason why I'm really pumped about what they're going to do or planning to do is that I'm not particularly good at first person shooter games. I'm not I like to play, but I don't consider myself to be very good, right? We jumped into EV.io, I was getting waxed constantly. I was probably having the most fun with the worst kill to death ratio on the level, right? So that's good. Altered State Machine is democratizing artificial intelligence in the form of these brain NFTs. And so you could put these brain NFTs in the Atom Car Club race car, and it will race. And you could toggle the brain to become a better race car driver, or Muhammad Ali's The Next Legends boxing game, where again, maybe you're toggling things like agility and speed and strength, and each brain being unique will react to the toggling of that training. So it gives the player who's not, I don't have the fastest thumb muscles in the world for the controller, but maybe I could outplay you based on my judgments of how the brain should compete.
now, so that collects the collective, right? So they've got the AFA soccer game, right?
That's coming. That's supposed to be out, I think, later this
So they've got
year.
AFA, they've got Atom Car Club. They've got the
Hmm.
Next Legends. Are those the three main games that group
Those
has?
are the I think those are the three main
Now the
games. Yeah.
brain, are all these games not ones where you're like going like this? Is it just like kind of does it on its own and you're training your brain and they're playing the game, or do we not
All I've
know?
seen so far is sort of like leaked video of play. I don't know what the interface will look like. Now, one of the use cases right now are thingies.
Yeah,
And if you haven't heard of thingies, they're spiders that create art. So think DALL-E, but you actually have an avatar that does the painting, and it has a brain
yeah,
and will pump out art based on its training. And you can interact with the training by choosing which art you choose to mint or not mint, and that teaches the spider the type of art it should keep creating.
yeah.
So that's just one protocol, and I think that's done extremely well because it's so interactive.
Yeah, I see
Uh,
a lot of that on. Basically, I just
yeah,
use Twitter is like my thermometer on what's going on or not. Maybe that's a downfall for me. It makes me a little bit narrow-minded, but yeah, I've seen a lot of that too. And the generative art thing is really interesting, and it also I don't know if you've looked into like AI. I feel like, and I've seen this on Twitter too. It's like it's back, right? Whether we're talking about generative art, there's all these cool discords where you join it and there's an AI machine and you type the prompt and it spits out some crazy image and it's really cool. But you can do it for writing too, like, and so like that's one of the things I do for my job is that I write blog. Part of my job is to write blogs, and you can just type in 5 or 6 keywords, and then you tell it give me a structure, and then it'll spit out like 7 or 6, 5 segments or 5 sections, and then you highlight the section and you say flesh this out, and then it spits out a paragraph, and it's like it's pretty good, you know. It's like one of those things where I think people in the office have been like, well, you know, the AI automation that's coming for coming for the burger flippers, and it's like, it's coming for me too, you know, and
Yeah.
it's interesting. It's
Well, I literally, I don't know if this is the same one. I'm sure there are many. I saw an advertisement on Facebook for a product called
yeah,
Jasper.
Jasper. Yep.
That's okay. So admittedly, I looked at that. I was like, well, if this could save me an hour a week in writing, maybe I should,
I looked so there's RYT, I think RYT is one, and I did a test account, and they let you get like 10,000 words, so I messed around with it for 10,000 words, and then I didn't do Jasper because you have to like actually give him your credit card, but I keep getting emails from Jasper because I signed up, but didn't put my credit card in, and the
Mhm.
emails were like an AI, you know, JP, an AI, you know, AI wrote this blog or AI wrote this email to you, and that to me is very interesting. I think it's great marketing, and the product itself was very. It makes you think. It makes you think about where we're going, and I think NFTs again are part of this kind of revolution or transformation, digital transformation that we're experiencing in real time. It's interesting.
It's really, it is interesting. In fact, one other writing protocol that people listening to this YouTube show might be familiar with is called
Yeah.
Mirror.xyz, and it allows you to write blogs or content, and it publishes to the blockchain, and you can collect a token, an NFT that represents
Hmm.
that piece of content. And so yesterday when I went to blur.io and I was trying to learn more about this, they have an XYZ, a mirror article. And I was like, wait a minute, maybe I should collect this. It had already sold out. Like 400 people had already collected the token for free. This is sort of, it's like a moment of history, in a way. JP, how do you feel about us announcing the winners since
Yeah.
we're
Let's
talking
do it. Sorry.
about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Winners of
in
what? What?
these Lover Notes, we offered to give away some free NFTs. You had to subscribe to Web3T, send me an email, and watch the show. And so we're going to announce that Guardian and Aximus are the winners
Aximus
of
already has an NFT. He's one
that's okay. I trust that Aximus will do the right thing and give it
to a
away to
friend.
somebody else. Yeah. So and so does Guardian, by the way. I know who that is, and invite some new people to the community that you like, folks who you like and have a shared interest with.
Well,
So
we were talking yesterday, and it's like it's so hard to get attention, right? And I feel like we do have a couple of people who we have for whatever reason, we have their attention, and
yeah,
maybe they're not on the show right now live, but they're participating in the community. They're doing there's a back and forth. I think that I
yeah,
really find encouraging, not just for our little
sure.
project and sphere, but just it's nice to have that interaction, because sometimes
Well,
we,
I'll take this with whether it's the Vanek Twitter instances like this. I have personally thanked people who have followed us,
yeah,
and like I try not, and if I haven't yet, I hope hopefully I will. But we consistently have some of the same people retweeting, making
yeah,
comments. This goes a long way, right? You'd like to think that what you're sharing has some value, and we're all trying to like raise the space together, right? To
yeah,
get the word out, to help on board. If JP and I win, everyone wins, and vice versa. So
yeah. Well, let's switch gears to some
yeah.
back. Let's switch gears back to negativity and darkness and
Ooh,
bad
good.
energy.
Yeah.
One of my favorite episodes was the Ledger episode. We had Mo on from Ledger, who likes my tweets. He had a great Good Morning tweet this
Perfect
morning. Mo had
example.
a great. He was in Amsterdam. All these European NFT guys, I don't know what they're doing, but they're just like going around to Amsterdam, Paris, Lucas, and they're just like, I don't know. It's a different
Yeah.
lifestyle. We've talked about this, but anyway, I got scammed, right? Like I clicked a bad
Mhm.
link, and my brain and my party bear got taken from my wallet, and I'm very salty about it still. So what's out there now? What's the scams? Who's getting scammed? How? Why? How do we stop it? What's going on?
Yeah. Well, I mean, all right. So call it a public service announcement on one scam that you know, right? One is Discord. When you go to Discord and you have users, fake users, reach out to you. They want to interact. They want to buy something from you, but they want to facilitate the trade, right?
Yeah.
And hopefully it's a pseudo swap trade to save fees. For one, if you are new to Discord, you really have to close your DMs. In fact, most projects, I would say 99% of projects will never DM you. So when you join a project, close the DMs right away
Yeah.
because oftentimes scammers will wait for new people to new channels. And as soon as, oh, JP joined the channel, it hits you right away. Oh, welcome, JP. Let us be your Sherpa to NFT
Yeah.
land. And then they rug you, right? So
Yeah.
that's common. I know you know about that one, but just in case those that are listening, that is a really common one. Be careful. I think the one I see all the time now is the airdrop scam to your OpenSea, to your wallet. It's usually in the hidden section of OpenSea where you have an NFT and you click on it and it says, "Hey, you've got a wrapped ETH offer of zero point 0.6."
Yeah.
And you're thinking, if you're new, you're thinking, "Oh my gosh, this is free money. I might as well claim this." No, you don't want to do that, right? Because otherwise you might sign permissions from your wallet to them. And one of the ways that you can know that this is not a legit NFT is go to the project on OpenSea and see what the volume is.
Yeah.
If zero volume, why would you have a wrapped ETH offer of zero point 0.6?
Does it
I'm
get
not, yeah.
clicking the link through OpenSea can open your wallet? Like it's being built into act like so like
When you sign the transaction, when you actually facilitate the transaction, you could sign over permission to your wallet if you're not paying attention to what you're signing to approve.
got it.
Yeah. So you might still swap that NFT, but it's like adding on a co-signatory to your bank account,
Yeah.
right? Like, yeah.
Through the OpenSea interface though. It's because when I got
Well, it could be any secondary. It's more of when you start if you're going through your wallet, your MetaMask, you're signing a transaction and you're not paying attention to what you're setting approval
because
for.
when I boofed it, it was on Twitter, and then it was like this project that I was really into, like, oh, we're minting a couple more, and it was a fake Twitter account that had 16,000 followers and was verified,
Yeah.
and then it sent me to their website, so it wasn't like through OpenSea. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That kind of mechanism can come through an OpenSea link.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Through an airdropped NFT. So yeah, folks need to be careful with Twitter. I mean, forget even like DMs. I mean, there
Yeah.
are
Just
really
yeah.
good. There was one from Fluff World maybe a month ago. They have a Gods and Goblins project that's coming out, and there was an account that cloned the real account. They even had over 1,000 followers to this account. And of course, once it has 1,000, everybody thinks it's
Yeah.
legit. Everybody piles in,
Yeah.
and it's a fake account. So when it comes to last minute free mints or even airdrops like Blur yesterday, when I got on, I went to Discord and I was like, "Who's used Blur? Has anyone used Blur? Have you heard of it?" Right?
Yeah.
And start to go to Twitter, and there are experts who know a lot more than me tied to these platforms,
Yeah.
and they looked into the contract already. Don't just jump in for the free airdrop. You got to be
Yeah.
careful.
That's how I got roasted.
Yep.
Well, 45 minutes in. Let's get in. Let's start talking about how great we're doing. Like, let's start talking about what's going on with the VanEck NFT community. I mean, we're coming up on about a year. We started working on this about a year ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of interesting. All the things that we've kind of been through and worked on and done. Planning, executing, launching, post-launch, where we are now. What's going on with the VanEck NFT community? How we doing?
Yeah. So so if you go to vanek.com/or/NFT community, we've had that page up for some time. That's going to be refreshed quite soon. So with some new updates. We're also going to have a metaverse experience right around the corner using portals. I've been talking about portals for a couple months now. I feel like it's long in the tooth, but we essentially started with a giant room and we decorated the room and we were going to have people come in and walk around and voice chat. Well, working with the portals team, they're actually giving us a full district. So we have a full VanEck only district with individual buildings and special rooms. So we're trying to come up with design ideas for what this district should look like. I might even just get to a point. I mean, it's tough to do anything perfect these days. I might just get to a point where I say, you know what, this is the shell. Why don't we invite our community members
Yeah.
in, let them explore? You all help to build.
Yeah.
You all help to design. And like, what do you want us to
Yeah.
build here? Like, what would be interesting? And make it a more of a community exercise. I'm not trying to drive the design, but it is fun. And I think you went into it earlier
Yeah.
today and you could run around. It feels like the size of I don't know, like well, I don't know, like 10 basketball
It's
courts
like
or
a
something.
Halo map. It's like the size of a
Yeah,
Halo map.
yeah, exactly. It's like a good sized map,
Yeah.
and hopefully there will be a Web3T store and a Blubbernode store, and we'll try to make it a little bit of an experience.
Um. So I think at the beginning, we were really like go go go, right? We were like,
Yeah,
and I feel like the tone has kind of shifted. And I think that the Nizy event, which I didn't go to, from
but you lined up instrumental.
but I got the sense that it was a success, right? I got the sense that it was a success. There was a great Forbes article about it. I feel like
Yeah,
the bringing the Afropolitan community into the Van Eyck community was a really cool thing to do, and it was fun and good, and it was a hit.
yeah,
And so I feel like that we've gone from doing a million things at a million miles an hour to now
hmm
we've got, we could launch the portals right now, right? We could put the link on
sure.
Tor and we have, I mean, we could probably get a couple hundred people in there today if we wanted to,
hmm
but we're slowing it down and kind of maybe elevating the quality and maybe the intentionality, if that makes sense. Would you?
It does, and I think that's something that we've learned. First of all, I think it's a byproduct of everyone slowing down,
Yeah.
and maybe even expectations. Like it's not like we have community members banging on the door, Matt, what are we
Yeah.
doing? So I don't have that. Thank you for not doing that. But I held myself, and because we talk about this quite a lot. I'm holding myself to this high expectation to deliver. It's really almost not needed because just like you said, that NYSE experience was really quality. We're going to have some in this next year that will be extremely high quality events. You'll be proud that you own the NFT. You'll be thankful that you have it.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. You'll grow. You'll learn and meet new people. That's really the name of the game. And I'm not going to talk about the project I'm working on too far, but I will say I am at the very, very early innings of building a platform for Van Eck that my hope is it will drive value, real value to our community at some point in the future, right? So bottom line, we're in build mode too. We're building something real, a platform that you can interact with, and if all goes well, I mean, it's like I get to be a founder again, and we're
Again.
going. Well, we've
Oh,
had
with the
enough.
community. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So we get to go through this again and build something, and we'll see how it goes. So
Well, I've been hearing you say a lot, blubber notes this, blubber notes that, and I know shout out Donna for a really cool icon.
yeah.
Where do you get your material? Are you just like in Discord all day? Like, where are you doing this kind of stuff? How are you finding
Yeah.
this out? If you were training your clone Matt, if you were going to train your
Yeah.
clone Matt Bartlett Jr. or you know one of your kids to
Yeah.
help you out, how would you tell them to do what you're doing? Like, where are you going?
Well, for one, knowing what I know now, I would probably go to joinbubbles.co and I would join that platform, which we gave free access to for if you're a reader of Blubber Notes like 2 or 3 notes ago. That's an aggregation platform for NFT projects. So literally, you can go there. You could sign up for all the projects that you want to get announcements for, and every morning it'll hit your inbox with the really high level, announcements, Twitter feed, etc. But I will go through Discord each day for the projects that I follow. I'll hit the general chat. I'll see if there's anything that's interesting. I do listen to, or I try to listen to every AMA, like Discord AMA. Twitter Spaces are tough because some projects will do a Twitter Space every day.
Arcade.
Arcade does a lot, yeah, and I think they're almost easier. They're very helpful because they're doing some of the due diligence for me because they're bringing these other projects,
Yep.
right? So if you grab one, you could learn about multiple things.
Yep.
I also read a lot of other Substacks, right? I learned about Sound.xyz from reading Koopa Troopa's Substack, who's it's all about music, right? So
Got it.
you could read that and you feel like you're pretty much in the know. So like I said, it's my job now. And oh, the other one is podcasts. Like I cannot emphasize if you're going to go for a walk for an hour, you might as well listen to a podcast too. It doesn't require any extra effort. It makes the walk more
Do you just
enjoyable,
walk
and you
around your neighborhood listening to podcasts?
I'll walk 2 miles, 2 to 3 miles.
Just
I'll put on a half hour
just
podcast
for
and just listen.
yourself, just to get out of the house.
Yeah, just so I because sometimes I feel like you can't exercise and study at the same time, and for me, that's the easiest way to do it. I get some fresh air and I get to learn.
Once again, highlighting the differences between me and you, like, because I live up in the woods, and so if I go for a walk, like, I leave my phone at my house, and
Yeah.
I don't want any of that. I just want to go walking. I like live by the woods, so it's funny. Like, I don't want to listen to anything when I'm going for my walk, you know?
I don't know if I necessarily want to. I think last night at I don't know what it was, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, I'm listening to that Blur.io AMA. I had already worked a full day.
Yeah,
I felt like I had to listen to it. And I feel like if I'm going to add value to people, I have to be listening when you're not.
yeah,
And so that's why I'm doing it, you know?
yeah,
Space is moving so fast that like if I didn't know about Blur, there's something wrong with Matt Bartlett.
yeah.
He's not paying attention to the market. So that's why I feel it's also a little bit of motivation, right? So
That's great. And then I'm going to lead you to a self reflective question for you. Like, what is something that you've missed? And not even a year in the last 3 months. Is there a project that's come out that you're like, man, I didn't know about this? Where'd this come from?
um,
Because every time
well,
you send me something, I'm like, never.
yeah.
You're doing.
I'll tell
You know.
you what I missed, and it was I don't. It's funny because looking back, it feels silly because it's like I was too smart for my own good. I missed
I knew
Goblin
you were
Town.
gonna say that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
missed Goblin Town, but not because I missed it. I could have bought it at point zero 0.04 early, or maybe not minted it for free, but bought it really cheap. And it just bothered me at the time that it was free, that the team was not doxxed at the
Yeah.
time, and you don't know what's in these smart
Yeah.
contracts. Like people love free. We just talked about rushing
Yeah.
into free airdrops. I was like, there's just no way I'm gonna mess with that. Now looking back, what I learned, you just got to use it with you just got to take a DGen
Hot
wallet,
wallet.
speculative wallet, and mint it with
Yeah.
that, and then sit there and just let it mature. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, it's in a speculative wallet.
That's awesome. Aximus is on. He said, I will for sure invite some more people to follow. Thank you for the win." So
Awesome.
look at that community, ride or die. I love it. Is there anything you want to? I mean, like, first of all,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
I learned a lot. I feel like we both did a great job. And Kendall, if you're still watching, you know we got a lot of clips out of this episode, and I think we talked about a lot of projects, name dropped them. So
Hmm.
you know we're gonna be name dropping these guys around because it's worth talking about. And you know I think that you know we're from a traditional asset manager. You know, I know I've been in these meetings where we're like, yeah, we love what you're doing. They're like, whoa, you guys like what we're doing. So like, I think it's important for us to kind of like acknowledge and recognize these different things that we've talked about, and maybe tag them and stuff like that, and give them some shout outs and stuff because it is very cool. It's very interesting, and it is really cutting edge. It's very next level used to be something I say all the time. It's next
Yeah.
level what we're doing. So I very much appreciate you, Matt Bartlett. I don't have any
Thank you.
lightning round questions for you. Do you have any for me?
You know, you had mentioned yesterday talking about what what does back mean,
What does
about
what?
how will we it was something about like how will we know
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. How do we
back,
know we're gonna be? Yeah, when are
you
we
know,
gonna be back?
if we're in the middle of the freeze, we don't know. It could be early, it could be late, we don't know.
Yeah,
And I thought that sat with me last night. I was thinking about I don't want to. I'm not looking forward to your euphoric markets again, pump and dumps,
yeah,
and I mean it still happens like in small ways every day still, but I hope it comes back in a healthy way. You know, healthy corrections, quality projects, kind of slow and steady organic growth as we onboard people.
Rising the wall of worry. That's what you want to see.
Yeah,
You want to see a
yeah,
wall of worry, but steady improvements. Slow and
yeah.
steady wins the race, not like as crazy as it was
So
yesterday.
hopefully that's how we unthaw and get going. So
I love it.
yeah, it's been great. Thank you,
Hey,
JP.
you're doing great. You're doing a great job, and I really appreciate you, Matt.
You
All
got
right,
it.
I'm gonna
Thanks.
throw the disclosure on, and then we'll be out of here. Take it easy, guys. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, everyone.